All right. So here's a follow-up to the video I did yesterday, being June the 1st, 2025. I just wanted to piggyback onto that little instructional or informational. I talked yesterday about the elastic rubber ball, right? That enjoys its, how shall I say it? Its potential to fly through the air with the greatest of ease, all right? Through the trauma that is inflicted upon it, and by trauma, I'm referring to its experience of being smashed or thrown against something such as the ground or a wall or even a body, right? A dodgeball. Okay? And so that is the trauma that is inflicted upon that ball. Now, that ball was made for that purpose. It was made to be bounced. It was made to be thrown and smashed against walls and people. It was made to be kicked. See, it has a purpose. Now, another product could take the occasion to say how unfortunate that ball's existence is. Why would a creator make or create something so that its whole purpose is to endure punishment, trauma? All right? But alas, we'll get into that a little bit more later. We'll go deeper into that discussion a little bit more later. But for these intents and purposes, I want to focus on the purpose of the shape of the ball. The purpose of the shape of the ball. The shape of that ball validates its existence. It needs to roll and bounce, okay, against various, or I should say in various situations. And the fact that it is round empowers it to carry out its purpose. A circle is, or being circular, is the most effective way that this ball can carry on its life's purpose. Okay? It did not ask to be round. The Creator made it that way. All right? And so with that being said, and in summation and closing, when you throw that ball or kick that ball, a deformity is taking place, just like we covered yesterday. It is being deformed. Through its trauma, it is being bent. It is being folded in a sort of way. It is being concaved, flexed, pushed, okay? All of these are taking place, all in line with its purpose and the intent for which it was created. And those actions become necessary in order to activate the characteristic for which that ball was made. That's why it bounces, because it is round. Why does the ball accelerate once it is smashed against the ground or a person or a wall? It's because of the shape of the ball, and when it makes the contact, when it goes through that trauma, it flexes, right? It concaves, so that the springing action can take place. Essentially, you can look at it this way, that the springing action of that ball is what that ball lives for. I could just see personified, right? Giving it a personality or character. I could just see the ball being wound up to be thrown, right? And it's like, God, this is gonna hurt. Yeah, you know what I mean? It knows what's about to happen to it. But I can also see, alternatively, that once the ball goes through that pain and endures and flexes and concaves, that springing action is liberating to that ball. If it was if it had a personality character, it can fly higher than it ever has flown before. It can go farther than it could on its own. If it was just a ball, just rolling along through life, mundanely, it would be boring. But what is the excitement? What is the most exciting time of that ball's life? When it is in the game, is playing the game. Now, it knows it's gonna hurt when it gets smashed against that wall or that floor or that person even. But it's willing to endure that because by throwing that ball against some item, the wall or floor or whatever, you are about to liberate and set that ball free. You are about to activate the purpose for which it is made. You are about to empower that ball. And that ball recognizes that this moment will define me. I'm going to fly further than I've ever flown before. Right? I'm going to endure the trauma, which I was made for it. The ball was made for that very reason and purpose. And in closing, I want you to consider the following. Not only are you a spirit being, but you're a physical being. Ask yourself this question. Why do you have senses? 5 senses. To experience. Ask yourself another question. Will all the experiences be pleasurable? You're going to smash your finger in the door at least 5 times before you become an adult and be like, that ain't happening no more, right? How many times are you going to bump your head? You're going to bump your head the rest of your life, I'm sure, right? It's just going to happen, right? How many times are you going to bite your tongue while eating? How many times are you going to be brushing vigorously, thinking about what you got to do next, and the toothbrush slips and hits you up in the gum line somewhere? Don't you hate that? How many times are you going to smell something? I don't know. Use your imagination. But you were awarded all of the senses that you have so that you can experience all there is to experience in your universe during your lifespan. And how many of those do you think are going to be pleasurable versus how many of those you think will be somewhat negative? Probably more negative, right? Right? Even if it's playing basketball and catching an elbow or something like, you know what I mean? All those things that happen to you, if you could think about it, right? Through the day even. Stubbing the toe. A whole lot of, whatever you can think of that involves your senses. Touching, hot. How many times are you going to burn yourself? Touch something hot. Ooh, ow. All your life. So with that being said, just like that ball, it knows it's going to go through a lot of trauma all through its life because it was made for that purpose. At least in the physical sense, right? Maybe not in spiritual, metaphysical, but definitely in this fleshly form. It is made to experience whatever ails you or what might ail you in a day. So I just want to put that on your mind to think. This is kind of a follow-up to our June 1st upload. I think it was thrust to something. Thrust to look in the description of this and other videos to find part 1. We'll call that part 1. We'll keep this series going. But what say you? What say you? You have all these physical experiences all through life. All these senses to use, to experience the sun, the hot, right? You got sunburn before. You see? Just like that ball. So I contend that in a way, right, within proper context, we were made to experience the type or a type of pain and trauma and whatever, and that trauma will set you free. It will liberate you if you put things in the proper context, and if you employ what I always like to term a rational analysis behind things, think things through. Don't just passively go through life, right? Employ rational analysis. Think these things through. Okay? And just like that ball, you'll flex, you'll convex, right? You'll be smushed a bit. You'll be slammed against something between perhaps a rock and a hard place. But it can propel you. That could be a defining moment of your life. Because one thing, and I'll say this in closing, one thing I know for certain, and two things I know for sure, is that we love a great comeback story. We love to go for the underdogs because it influences us, it motivates us, it gives us hope. All right? So sometimes you got to become that ball. So somebody else could benefit from the story, your motivating story. Okay? This is what we do for each other. And this is why I contend we were given 5 senses. All right? And I did a study on the mind. The mind is the storage, basically the storage facility of all the sum total of all the experiences that you have had in your lifetime. Okay, we'll later for that though. All right? And so think on these things. I'd like to, if this touches you in any type of way, if it impresses upon you, it motivates you, it encourages you in any sort of way, then please put a comment in the comment section, like, and also subscribe and share this with somebody else, all right, that might need to consider these things. All right, now you've been made free. The question is, what are you going to do with it? We'll see you on the next upload. All right, thank you for tuning in. Peace.